Yeah, Mitraji, you can start now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be just sharing a few slides and I'll talk on the risk tolerance principle, which is very essential if one has to be a participant in the market, at least and face and navigate the ups and downs on the market, both for the short term and the long term. I have covered this in my previous seminars, but to recapitulate, I will just mention two things and all. Before entering the market, because when we select a stock, we must have a very clear-cut idea of what is our gain going to be, whether we are going to be a short-term or a long-term player, and what will be our risk will be. And that is very, very essential. And maintaining a trading journal will definitely help improve the investor in his journey. And we need to understand what type of risk we are taking and all, and what is the difference in the category of risk. We always say the way we look at it. Hello. Yeah. So what is there is a risk appetite. Now everybody who comes to the market understand that equity is the most risky among all the assets compared to a fixed deposit, compared to a savings account, compared to an RBI bond. So there's an element of risk involved and all. And if you ask most of the participants and all, they will say, you are willing to take risk. Yes, I am over there. And for each person, be it a he or a she, the risk-taking capacity is also different. If somebody has got no liabilities, the person is more likely to, can afford to take more risk, or somebody who has taken a life insurance or term insurance, has taken a health insurance, and doesn't have any other liability, can also afford to take risk. So risk again varies from person to person. But from the market point of view and all, especially after the happening on Thursday and Friday, I mean, there were so many messages across so many forums and all. There's something called risk tolerance, and we all have to be aware of our own risk tolerance. Like what works for me might not work for somebody else, or what might work for somebody else might not work for the third person or not. So each one of us needs to understand the risk tolerance and all, which I will explain in a very simple slide in the next one. See, let us assume, for example, that although there are 5 types of individuals and all, one is unplanned, one is conservative, one is moderate, one is aggressive and very aggressive. I'm talking in relation to equity. And each one has got a net worth of only 1 lakh rupees. And the fixed income cash, I normally consider it as a savings account, your fixed deposits and all over there. Commodities I've taken equal for all. Commodities prima facie, I'm talking as gold. Assuming that 10% of the net worth is in gold, so I've kept it. And equity is the only factor which I have changed, and obviously related to fixed income and cash. The more aggressive you are, the more is your net worth, the equity percentage increases in your net worth. So what we are talking about here, risk tolerance, is that we understand is that when I talk about 8% in whatever there, I always look at from 8% from the point of view of individual stock and not from the point of view of portfolio. Because my worst case scenario is that if anything happens, even my portfolio gets down, total portfolio gets down at 8%, I can afford to get out and all over there. So the idea is over here is that each person after this today's seminar can just chalk down what will be the equity contribution to its total net worth. I am leaving aside property because I don't consider property to be in this net worth and all. I'm just keeping very simple for the understanding purpose, fixing property. See, when you take a 8% risk tolerance, the maximum, if your portfolio, I'm talking about aggressive, if it is 60,000, it is 4,800. But this 4,800 is the very high side because the probability, if assuming the equity of 60,000 is divided in 10 stocks, each one is of 6,000 rupees, the probability of all the 10 stocks falling is very, very less. So the maximum the stocks can fall, say 50% can fall. So in that case, it will be only 2,400. So my idea is that whenever there's we are not worried about ups in the market, we are more worried about downs in the market. Take for an example, if assuming that the entire your portfolio goes down by a certain percentage, what will be the impact on your net worth? See, because I don't consider even why I have kept 8%, but if I look at from my net worth, it is only 4.8%, which is 5%. And I have backtested this and all, even except for March 20, when it reached around 7% or so and all over there. I backtested it, of course, up to last 5 years. And I found that even if I have, say, Nifty 50, 5 stocks, I have Nifty 55 stocks and 5 stocks from between Nifty 50 to 100, then my chances of hitting the percentage loss of net worth, that is with the 8% loss in equity, 5% is only happened once or twice. So my submission to the members of this community will be is to define your risk and define your risk tolerance. That is, what is the maximum drawdown you can afford in this market. And the idea is very simple, is that if it triggers and all over there, please come out from the market. Protect capital preservation is absolutely necessary if you are dealing with satellite portfolio. Core portfolio, no. If there's no fundamental change in a company, I would advise not to. But then again, depending upon the investor's point of view, they can take the risk appropriately. So how to minimize the risk? Minimize the risk is that one should move with the trend in the market. One cannot fight the trend in the market. If the money is moving out from small cap and mid cap and is going to the large cap, so ideally an investor should reduce its exposure to small cap and mid cap until and unless that particular company which the investor is holding is betting, is the relative strength is higher than the Nifty 50. Because see, ultimately all the stocks have to be evaluated with the strength of the either the BSE Sensex or Nifty 50. If we have to outperform the Nifty 50, that's the way. Move with the trend. Don't fight the trend. Whichever sector is moving and all, be aligned to that sector and increase your exposure accordingly. The other thing is that the more common mistake we do as an investor is that we put the money up front. Suppose we like one company and the company is fundamentally strong, technically sound, we put straight away buy 500 shares or 1,000 shares or 10,000 shares of that company. Ideally, one should not. If one is entering the company at the first point of time, that person can start with only 0.5% of the allocation which that person has made for that particular company and see how the company is reacting or not. As and when the company starts hitting newer highs, you can allocate more for another 0.5% or 1% or 2%, and you increase your allocation up to 10% per stock or 30% per sector, depending upon your choice. But most of us, what we do is that we put the money all at one go and all, and if the market corrects and all, we find that we are in loss. So the best way of handling this is to ensure if you start with 0.5%, then what happens, you put 1%. Even if the market corrects by 10%, your loss percentage is less. You can also sell it off. If you can reevaluate whether you got the right time to enter in the market or whether the company is okay, there's nothing has affected the environment, you can again come back to the company. See, exiting from a company does not mean that you will not again buy to the company if it is available at an attractive valuation and the company's fundamentals are absolutely in line. So my submission is that allocation limit has to be there for stock and per sector. Do not go overboard in one particular stock, and because the risk management actually works if you ideally have spread across 5 sectors and 10 stocks. Because and across market caps, you can have say 40%, 50% large cap, 30% mid cap, 20% small cap, or as you wish and all. But the idea is one must understand what is the risk tolerance and what is the maximum drawdown one can expect. Thank you. That's all I have to say for today.
You mean to say start with 0.5%. Can you elaborate on this?
Yes, so it's like this and all over there. Assuming you want to put say 1 lakh rupees in a particular stock and all over there. So 0.5%, say 5% of will be 5,000 rupees. You allocate 5,000 rupees to purchase the stock and see if the stock, say if the stock is in an uptrend and it hits after 2 days, it hits a new high or it touches the upper band of the downtrend channel, you allocate another 5,000 rupees. So what is happening is that your average price of the stock is increasing in line with the trend. So you are purchasing one stock, assuming at 100 rupees, another goes up by another 10, you purchase 110. So you have got 200 shares, but your average price is 105. where the market price is 110. Assuming the market price corrects by say 10% and all, even then your loss will be minimal because you have not allocated your full capital to that and all. So what we are trying to say is when the stock rises and you average up and all, you have a safety buffer of 3 to 4%. Normally in a good stock of fundamental and all. So what happens is your risk element and all, the cushion increases and all. Instead of putting straight away, like yesterday, somebody has said Hindustan Lever, fine, it's a very good company. Now everybody suppose allocates money to Hindustan Lever, and tomorrow, Monday, by chance Hindustan Lever corrects by another 10%. So what happened? The person reaching at the top and will have lost 10% of his capital. What if the person has bought only 5 shares of Hindustan Lever, and if the market falls and is aware that Hindustan Lever will again rise, he can purchase another 5 shares and all over there at that point of time. Like my idea is that do not invest all your money allocation to a one single stock at one point of time. Spread it across 3 or 4 installments and all. And you can understand which way the trend is moving and you allocate the money and all. See, for example, in my case and all, if I find the stock is good, but the relative strength is 0, I don't allocate money to that stock. I allocate additional money only to the stocks which have grown percentage and the trend is with that sector, and the sector is again within the Nifty 50. So always my money is allocated to the stocks which are in uptrend, or even if it is downtrend, it is less when compared to it has fallen less compared to Nifty 50. So the idea is that one should always evaluate whether the stock is performing vis-a-vis the sector, vis-a-vis the Nifty 50, and whether the allocation risk of that particular stock in the portfolio is in line with your risk tolerance. That's all I have to say.
No, but Mitraji, psychologically, it's very difficult. Suppose you bought a stock, say 100 rupees with 0.5%, and then a stock start moving up. Then it's psychologically, it's very difficult. I've seen the 100 rupees price and now I'm buying 105. Then I'm buying 110. Psychologically, it's difficult. I agree with you, 100% agree with your principle. And logically, mathematically, you are 100% right. But psychologically, it's impact. I've seen this price at 100 rupees. I've seen this price at 90 rupees. Now, how can I buy it at 110 or 105? That is the issue.
So it's like this and all. I'm just giving just for sort of illustration all over there, just for one particular company and all over there. So normally in my case and all over there, I allocate money. If I decided on Ambuja Cement and all, it is going up and all. So on 21. So I look at this particular day on 4th January 21. It has hit a new high. So if I want to purchase say 10,000 rupees of Ambuja Cement, I straight away put only 0.5%, say 500 rupees on Ambuja Cement and buy the stock. The reason why it happens is the next 3 days, if you look at it, it has fallen sharply. So my loss is actually for only those 10 shares which I have bought. If I had bought the full lot and all over there, so then I decide, okay, if I have bought this, let me wait for some time and see what is the trend. So again, after 4 days, the stock goes. After 5 days, I don't purchase. After 6 days, I find the stock again hitting the new high of the downtrend channel. So what happens is that over here, I allocate some more money. And then I observe the trend. I said, okay, now the trend is rising, the momentum is rising. I look at the bottom, that is now more greens and less red. So that means people have started buying and accumulating. So I start allocating more capital, and perhaps I reach my 5% allocated capital at this point. So what happens is that the stock goes up, my profit increases. Even if the stock falls, even if the stock corrects by 10%, my average is somewhere over here. This is what I'm trying to share and all. It's very difficult because I also have to go against my own psychology, understand the model concept, and then do it and all. But I found it is very beneficial to that in the extent. If you can average it up and all over there, say on 3 installments or 4 installments. So even if the stock falls sharply, a market correction can happen anytime. We cannot know which way the market will behave, but at least our protection will ensure that our losses are minimized. I'm not saying we will not have loss. We will have loss, but our loss percentage will be minimum. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Excellent, sir.
So you look, what you do is that you look whether it's hitting the upper heights and you look at the volume. And if you look over here, even the sell volume, even if it is a red, if the volume is going down, it means that there are not many people are willing to sell. So you can hold on. You can see what is actually happening, the volume price action.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Thank
Excellent,
you.
excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Actually-
Joshi. Over to you.
Actually, your strategy is very similar when we go for a covered call with 25% stock. Instead of 100% stock, we are doing it 25%. And as the stock is increasing, we are buying more quantity for the covered call. So this perfectly fits that strategy. Whereas in case of covered put, now the stock start falling and then we are getting stuck.
Yes. Yes,
very good. Very good.
That is the thing now. And the ideally is that in a downtrend channel, if the mid band and all it falls, normally the mid band is around 8% and all. You can have moving averages, you can do whatever it suits you and all. But normally for a core portfolio, one should look at it in a weekly point of view or in a monthly point of view, and you say, okay, it has hardly made any difference. If we look for the 9 months, it has only fallen 2. Like corrections are very healthy in the market. So this is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Abhijit sir,
Anybody has any question?
Abhijit sir, small piece. Actually, you are telling that 0.5%. This is very good philosophy. Suppose if I follow this philosophy, suppose for example, I take HDFC Bank, let us say 10 shares of HDFC Bank. I allocate, assuming that it is 0.5% of the particular stock allocation. Suppose if the stock, suppose if vice versa happens, suppose if the stock moves down, can't I average it down if it is a good stock?
I normally do not. Okay, I normally do not, because I always have to justify. If you are comfortable when you enter that particular stock at a particular price, you must have a risk reward frame in your mind and all over there. So if the stock goes down and all, you never know whether the stock is actually starting to go down further or not. So what you are trying to do say is that if I purchase low, and my chances I will be over there. So why not wait for 4-5 days and see the trend and all over there? And if the trend is no, it is on a consolidation mode, it's fine. You don't need to buy, because ultimately it's the opportunity cost of capital. Why should you block up your money into a stock which is going sideways? If you look at HDFC Bank for the last 1 year, you know how much did the stock move? It only moved 0.2%. 0.2%. That's what I'm saying. See, if you look at all the shares which you are holding, just look over a 1 year period, what has been the difference in price? There has been some, but there are certain stocks, particularly defensive stocks, they have not moved at all. They have moved within, say, within the range of 3 to 5%, which are normally a fixed deposit gives. So my submission will be is that if you enter a stock, please be very clear in your mind what will be your risk reward ratio, and put your drawdown tolerance accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
I have a question.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. The last question. Then Joshi will start.
Abhijit ji, normally, you know, we in Zerodha, we go for the GTT. Okay. Now, normally when we buy a script, you say it's trading at 10 rupees. We try to keep it at 8 rupees, which means I'm expecting it to come down and then I have the GTT triggered. What I understand from you is that is not a good strategy.
No, what I'm trying to say is that, sir, is just that it is a good strategy. No strategy is good or bad. What I would say, you are trying to say put 20% and all. So suppose you want to buy 100 shares, you put a GTT only for 20 shares instead of 100 shares. What I'm saying is that you reduce the risk, because if the stock goes below another 20%, then what happens, your loss element is only for restricted to the 20 shares instead of 100 shares. Right. So idea is that if we purchase it, that like when we entered a swimming pool, we put our toe in the water and see whether it's cold and all over there. Similar in the market, if you can test the water and all before putting 100% of your money which you have allocated for that particular stock, it will help you to protect the downside risk. That's what I'm trying to say.
I understand that, but what I also understood was that when the share price is going up, that is the time to buy a script. When the share price is going down, what I heard you say, understood is, you really don't know where the bottom is. So that time if you're buying, you might get into a bottomless pit. So
okay.
Thank you. I get it. Thank you.
So ideal situation is that if the market corrects very sharply And if we find that the negative sentiment, but the stock is fundamental, one can always buy when there's fear in the market. But when you sell in the strength. When many people are buying and you are sure that it will another 10-15% will go up, you can sell. But the idea is that if you purchase a stock and it goes down 10%, 15%, and you say, let me average down, please do not do that, because we have to examine whether the stock there's something wrong with the stock or the sector or the macro. We need to understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Joshiji, I invite you to start your discussion. You're already late by 5 minutes.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Slide sharing.
Yeah.
Let me just go for slide sharing. The first topic will be regarding. I will show you some very interesting facts about